want people, and it helps me. Someone keep a timestamp of when I just started talking about Partey, because this can get clipped up after the stream and we can review. Well, it can come out as a shorter, more condensed video, people. So yeah, someone remind me of when we started speaking. Pardon me the minute, please. In 3, 2, 1. Arsenal in talks with Thomas Partey over contract extension. Arsenal, David Ornstein has said Arsenal want to keep Thomas Partey at the club beyond his existing contract and now are in talks with the midfielder about a new deal. The 31-year-old's terms expire this summer, and that would enable him to leave as a free agent. It appeared that Partey was set to exit, but a return to prominence in Mikel Arteta's side has left the manager and club keen to extend his stay. The Ghana international is happy at Arsenal and his family are enjoying living in London. He'd be open to an improved 2-year agreement or a 1-year deal plus an option to extend by 12 months. Partey will also consider alternative option in case a deal cannot be struck for him to stay. Having joined Arsenal from Atletico Madrid in 2020, has played an important role for the club's progress, despite a number of spells through injuries. Unfortunately, he will miss the first leg of the Champions League semi-final against PSG next week, but should return for the reverse fixture on May the 7th. And Mikel Arteta, maybe it's mind games or not, didn't sound too upbeat on us seeing Jorginho in what's left of the season. But what do you lot make of what I've just read there with Thomas Partey? I've got a lot to say. The first thing is, evidently, I'm happy with that because he's a good player. He's one of the best midfielders in the league, in my opinion. Clearly got a good relationship with Declan Rice. Simultaneously, whether it's Zubimendi or whatever, I think we need a central midfielder or two. If you do that and have Thomas Partey's qualities, why not? Clearly, Mikel Arteta loves him, because unfortunately, we'll get into the positives, but where you look at Thomas Partey, he has had a lot of injury riddles and stuff, but Mikel Arteta, any given opportunity, looks to play him. Last season for Thomas Partey personally, he was on the sidelines. And yeah, we were fighting for the league title. Bearing in mind, we finished 2 points behind City. As soon as Partey got up to speed, better yet, Partey came back at a point and he was on the bench here and there. Remember when it came into that last 5 or something games, Partey was playing week in, week out. The guy's lit. Now, obviously, Berta has had something to do with this. He obviously knows Partey from his time at Atletico Madrid and can evidently see what we see. We still need to buy a midfielder. Now, have we got a change in mind on Thomas Partey's contract position? Because maybe the Zubimendi thing's getting hijacked. Maybe we don't see any players that are potentially on this level. Mikel Arteta and all of us, we make a big song and dance about we need a squad this season with the injuries. Actually, for whatever reason, players missing tonight serves as a reminder. So Partey's more than welcome, and I don't want to say it, he's a right back option. Was it a thing where they said to Thomas Partey, you know what, or indirectly they were of the belief like kind of play for a new contract? We know your quality, we know you're a good player and all of that kind of stuff, but play for your contract, in which he's doing, and evidently we hope he signs. Obviously, another key point of that is he's kind of flexible with his demands. Either a 1-year deal plus a further option of 12 months, which I think is the case, or I would push for, or a 2-year agreement outright, which is if I was Partey's agent or Thomas Partey, I would push for. End of the day, I'm 31. I'm living in London. My family's cool here. I'm getting good wages. Go Saudi soon. I need something important. I think a 1 year plus an option that gives us the flexibility because, at the end of the day, football's fickle and football's determined by results individually and collectively. Because this time, last summer, it's not that Arsenal fans couldn't tell you Thomas Partey wasn't a good player and how good he was and yada, yada, yada. But for the last 2 summers, we've heard he's been available on the market and some Arsenal fans wanted to get rid of him. So right now it seems like a no-brainer. And again, it is that age-old case of a player being in their last year of their contract and playing out of their skin. Because I don't want to say it, but it's a possibility. What if he signs that deal and stinks up the place? That's the one thing with Thomas Partey. I used to say it, like, I think while Thomas Partey's been here, he's obviously a good player, played well in numerous games, done numerous things. But in terms of that consistent Thomas Partey, and a bit of it has to do with fitness, I don't think I've been exposed to that in your 5 years or more often than not. Now, the past is the past. What you're doing this year is what I want to see. Going back to 2022, 2023, when you was with Xhaka, that year as well. So I'm on that really and truly, that we can't afford to lose too much experience. I wonder not that I'm pocket watching or I'm accountant, but, we're clearly in talks to sign Bukayo Saka to a new contract. And if rumors are to be believed, he's going to be the highest paid player. Now, that's more than Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. So you're going to have to take on that new contract. Kai Havertz, I'm not saying he should, but he's not going anywhere. Jesus is injured at this moment in time. Obviously, Partey might have to be flexible with his wages, and that's another negotiation in itself. But as it stands, he's on a lot of money, and we're obviously probably going to bring in a player or two who are going to be on something decent. But that's again, that actually, that I think to a degree that comes with wanting to be the club we want to be in it. You have to pay people handsomely and you have to give them big wages. So yeah, I'm cool with Partey staying, but for me, it's a thing where it's all fun and games Partey staying, but can you sign another midfielder regardless? And I wonder if there's been a change in mind off the bat of maybe whatever players we're looking at, there's been a change of heart there. Maybe it's not, and I don't think it is. I'm just trying to think about all the possibilities, people. I think you keep Partey, you have to bring in a midfielder. Jorginho's gone. Yeah, you've got Marino and technically Kai and all these guys, but it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens where that is concerned. But yeah, David Ornstein once again said Arsenal are in talks with Thomas Partey over contract extension, man. Yeah, we've just been speaking about that. Big up you lot that have obviously, mentioned that. Let me know your thoughts on what and whatnot, people. If we get back to the game we've got tonight, and you know what? It must be annoying for Mikel Arteta because he's 100% going to get asked about PSG, obviously, whatever happens in the game now, any of the players that are missing, whatever the journalists want to throw up. Now they're going to ask, especially how it's written in the stars, Thomas Partey bosses it, the gaffer gets starts. He's obviously going to swerve that and say, do you know what, talk to Berta, but you get the point. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Kivior, Lewis Skelly, Partey, Declan Rice, Odegaard, Raheem Sterling, Martinelli, and Trossard. On the bench, you have Neto, Tierney, Saka, Zinchenko, Butler, Oyedeji, who made his debut in our last game, Gower. And let's click on this because some of the names need to be cut out. Yeah, sorry. Gower, Henry Francis, Kaba, Wanyeri, and Bakayo Saka. As you can see here, for Crystal Palace, you've got Henderson, Lerma, Lecole, Gurhi, Mitchell, Muniz, Deveni, Walton, Kamada, and Nketiah. Shout out to him. And also a former Haaland, technically an Eze, people. So, yeah, people, what do we make of stuff? Once again, I want to remind you, look, Mikel Merino is not on the bench or starting for us today. Benjamin White is not with the squad either, people. Now, quickly glancing at Crystal Palace's team, ask Henderson questions. That Muniz, the right back, he's quite decent defensively. Our left winger, let alone Lewis Skelly, got a game today. Lecole, I'm on to you because when we battered you lot and Saka got that injury, you was trying to force him off the pitch. Let him know you're there first 5 minutes, please. Gurhi, shout out to you. Mitchell's contract's running out. Would any of you lot take him for the squad at left back? Walton's a baller, and you see what buying these British midfielders does, even when you pay a lot. And we paid probably too cheap for Declan Rice. I'm on water. Kamada, Deveni, Eze, and big up our former player Nketiah. Now, Crystal Palace, again, like us. Not that we can afford to, because I think it's a disrespect to say to each other, let alone the Premier League. Both teams have their eyes on other things clearly this season. I'm really rooting for you lot to win in the Champions League. What team do you support again, my guy? Rice, 60 minutes, no more. Bring Zubimendi for a different DM profile. Yeah, man. Do that. Have your Zubimendi. Have your Declan Rice. Have your Thomas Partey. Have your, Demlot. Marino's there. He can do a job. Not really on it, but have arts on paper. Lewis Skelly, see what he can do. Some people would put Odegaard in that role. Did I mention Wanyeri? Wanyeri do little hybrid things. But we need a squad. But there's not been too many times that we found a player, if it makes sense, that we've bought the replacement for a player that needs it replacing or eventually will be replaced. The only time I felt we've done that is probably ironically David Raya. Like Ramsdale was the number one, he was doing his thing, he had his faults, but Raya was brought in where on paper at the time nobody was talking about buying the keeper. I go back to ironically when we signed Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. That was the summer I wanted two central midfielders. At that time I was saying Lavia. Obviously I don't know how much that holds up now, but we still need to find someone. But where you look at the Gyökeres links, which David Ornstein also spoke of, where you look at the Gyökeres links where Ornstein spoke about, Thomas Partey, obviously forget if you believe Gyökeres could be the guy or not the guy or whatever. He's 26, Partey's 31. This is experienced players, so it's kind of a win now mode. And obviously the gaffer knows the player. And also, we don't get it twisted. Please do not misunderstand me. Arsenal need to act in the market. But I think what goes against things, and I think more fans of us in England and fans of us that follow English-based clubs, the solution is always money. Do not get it twisted. Money needs to be spent. Money's been spent, etc. But people fail to understand you've got to improve the players. It's all fun and games. Nico Williams, Zubimendi, Gyökeres, this one, that one. It's about making Saka better and the players as well, but Saka getting better. You know, several players, in fact, in this lineup and on the bench and that have been injured getting better. And also keeping that group together as well. It's a big summer beyond the obvious, because you look at the 2022-23 season, you look at going into this summer, which will be our fourth year, you know, for when the 2025-26 season starts, that will be going into our fourth year, right, of being this kind of club sort of thing again, once again, or for the first time under Mikel Arteta. That's a long time for a football team to stay together, you know. So again, you look at the beginning of the tenure and the time period I said, and now certain players have gone the distance, certain players have been moved on, certain players that were once upon a time first names on the team sheet. Sometimes like Tierney ain't even done nothing wrong. We're just trying to do the inverted thing. Other players have stepped up in the absence of other players being injured. You know, I believe in Tommy Asu. I want to keep Tommy Asu. I hope he gets fit. But I wonder how much indirectly, I know they're not like for like defensively, but for argument's sake, Kivio's probably still going to be linked with moves away. But I wonder how much Kivio's form, how much Partey being able to play right back agendas, how much Lewis Skelly's emergence has played on, oh, we can afford to sell you now, or we might do X, Y, and Z. So, yeah, man, there's a lot to do. You know, you look through our whole squad, there's several players with speculation over their futures, really. You could force it and say Saka, Saliba, Gamares, I wish,